Hello everyone, this is Eve again. Welcome to week 5 of your LIR10 class. This week we will be focusing on plagiarism and annotations, creating those annotations for the sources that you've found in weeks 2 through 4 of the class. This is a little bit of an in-depth part of the course, so you'll want to make sure you go back and check out those lectures that are noted about annotations. I think there's 4 of them. Check them out very carefully because this will be a large part of your final grade. The other thing to note this week is that turn in your annotation and with all the qualifications needed in it, and you'll see in the assignment how to do that. And I will grade it and get it back to you, and look very carefully at my notes because my notes will help you make sure that the other annotations you have to do for your final project are correct. With that, let's talk a little bit. I'm going to not talk so much today about plagiarism, which is this week's other topic, because there's some really good notes in there, and I think remember how important it is not to do things like not cite your works, make sure you do in-text citations, and how to paraphrase. All of that kind of stuff are in the lecture notes this week, so I'm going to focus a little bit more on how to create these annotations for you. So you can see in lecture week 5, annotations overview, there's a document here that is actually a citation and an annotation, so you can sort of see exactly what we're looking for in that annotation. And this is just a citation from a journal article. You can see Scientific American Mind is the journal article and where what database it was in. So with that, let's talk a little bit about annotations. An annotation is just a summary with an evaluative statement associated with it for resources. So you can see there's 4 things that I want in an evaluative annotation. One is just a tiny bit of a summary. You have to write it yourself, so just a sentence. And each of these 4 parts should really just be a sentence. It does not have to be long. It does not have to be complicated. An author statement is a little bit about the author. You're going to have to do some research on that, and you'll again see that in the lecture notes. Who is the author? Why do we trust this author? And that kind of goes back to that crack test that we did in week 4 of the class. The source of publication, we've talked about that previously as well, but the source of publication shows you what type of publication we're thinking about being academic, and in what way does that publication represent academic work. So things like, do they have an editorial board? Are they listing references right on your publication source? Are they linking out to other articles that are in magazines or journals or books of reputation? And then your evidence statement, that's a little bit of a tricky one, explains how the author came to understand what he or she was writing about. So things like, I talked to 10 different researchers, or I did research on this scientific experiment, or I just made it up, or I just think that. I think it's really important because those things will all be important in your evidence statement. And again, if there is no evidence statement, that's okay, but you need to say that in your annotation. You know, if someone just sort of, especially on your websites, if they're just like really passionate about the topic but don't give them any evidence about it, state that in your website annotation, because that will be important, an evaluative factor. The point is of all these annotations to prove that this is a good article for academic research, right? So I hope this is helpful. Make sure to read the lecture notes really carefully, and then again focus on the plagiarism lecture readings. It's a long one, but it's going to be really important for a lot of your other classes going forward. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. Have a good week.